I'm going to break down some high level marketing strategy and tips I would recommend as you're starting out your business, but know that we will go way deeper in future videos. These are some golden rules I would always recommend. First of all, organic is always better than paid. You always want to try to build a community organically or without spending money or without ad dollars because that is going to be a self-sustaining brand that's lasting. Whereas if you always have to throw money to get new customers, you don't really have a business and that's not sustainable. So know that you always want to try to strive to have organic over paid. The next golden rule is that you need to be where your customers are. So do not waste your time being on a social media platform or somewhere if your customers aren't there. That's why the market research is so important and you want to ask them about their media habits so that you can know where to spend your time, resources, and budgets. Also, always want to add value to your customers' lives when you're posting content. Always think about how this helps them, how this supports them, why they should care. And then my mentor is Xanthi, who is an amazing social media business coach and educator. I will have her stuff linked down below. But she has this mantra, which I have now embodied, and it's basically all killer, no filler. And so every single content piece that you put out needs to be killer. And don't just put out content because you feel like you need to be posting on Instagram 5 times a week or you need to do whatever, right? Like we want to post high quality, amazing content because there's so much content out there nowadays. And in order to stand out and be differentiated and grow sustainably, we need to provide value and make sure it's really good content. Generally, this is what I would recommend for your marketing strategy. If you're a service-based business, I would recommend one high traffic / evergreen long form platform. And then I would recommend one social media platform, and then I would recommend email newsletters. Let me break that down. In terms of the long form, high traffic platform, that's either a YouTube channel or a podcast. And the reason why I recommend this to service-based businesses is because this longer form content allows you to really fully dive into something so that you can build trust with your community, show that you're an expert, build credibility, and also longer form content like YouTube and podcasts. It also converts so much better because of that trust and that credibility that's being built. But also the YouTube and podcast algorithms, it's more evergreen, right? Like if you search for a topic, you're going to be able to find it. And I find even with my past recloseted YouTube videos, they still get views, they still get comments, and they still bring me leads 2, 3, 4 years later. Whereas with Instagram, you post something and the shelf life is like a day max. You do want a platform that will drive traffic, allow you to build your expertise and credibility, and also be something that can continuously bring you leads. YouTube and podcast is definitely more work to set up, but I would highly recommend you do that if you're a service-based business. The other thing too is once you've built up your YouTube and or your podcast community and your listenership or viewership, you can also run ads to it, and that can be another source of income for you. YouTube AdSense, you could do YouTube sponsorships, you could do podcast ad reads. Those all can be really great revenue diversification streams for you. And I would recommend one social media platform, such as an Instagram or a TikTok, depending on where your ideal customer is. And the reason why I recommend that is because you can build a community there as well, and those platforms will allow you to engage with your community. Whereas with the YouTube, like, yes, they can leave you comments, but it can feel very impersonal. You're kind of at an arm's reach. And with the podcast too, they're just listening to you, but they can't really engage with you. Whereas on Instagram, you can do stories and they can reply to your stories. They can DM you. They can leave you comments. It's a lot more engaging. You can truly build a community and nurture people on those platforms. But I would definitely recommend coupling with a high traffic platform and a longer form platform so that you can build up that trust and credibility. And last but not least, email newsletters. This is important because email newsletters are so great in terms of building up that trust and that credibility again. But also when it comes time to launches and selling, emails are a great avenue to do that. And I would also say too, emails are customer real estate that you own. Instagram could shut down the next day. YouTube could shut down the next day. You never know, right? And if you've only built up your customer base on those two platforms, then poof, all your customers would be gone. And so it is important to diversify, and emails are a great way to do that. That's what I would recommend for service-based business. If you have a product-based business, I would say you can likely do 1 to 2 social media platforms and pair that with email marketing. You likely don't need a high traffic / longer form content piece. It's also going to be trickier to think of a YouTube channel or a podcast to talk about with a product-based business. And so instead, I want you to be on Instagram and or TikTok, really build up your community base. I want you to build it up, nurture them, be engaged with them. Also, you need to have an email newsletter so that you can contact them, sell to them, all that stuff. I will say if you have a physical products business, though, it is in your best interest to be able to be featured on podcasts. So you definitely want to do that instead. With all that being said, I now want you to leverage the Notion workbook down below to figure out your marketing strategy, finalize it. And then I'm also going to send you an email that will couple along nicely with this lesson video, showcasing some marketing strategy and some tips and resources that I really, really find helpful. And so keep an eye out for that. And once you've gone through everything in this lesson, I will see you in the next one.